Hi, I'm Igor.
And I'm Charlie. Welcome to Spoiler Club, the show where we talk frankly about the movies, TV shows, and books that we're loving, or loving to hate.
Nothing is off the table, which means yes, there will be spoilers, big ones. Plot twists, endings, betrayals, bad decisions, questionable wigs, unforgettable performances, and all the moments that made us scream at the screen.
Today, we are blasting off Earth and to the stars with Project Hail Mary. We're going to find out what worked, what didn't work, and what we absolutely need to talk about. So Project Hail Mary, what was your first impression walking out of the theater?
It was a mix of sadness. It's a good happy sad movie, you know? It takes you on a roller coaster, like good Hollywood film's supposed to take you on this roller coaster of emotion, and I think it delivered. It definitely delivered.
Absolutely. I was surprised. I mean, I always find Ryan Gosling is he's so charming, whether it's a movie like The Fall Guy where he's playing the stunt actor or the Barbie movie, you fall in and it feels like he's the guy that you kind of want to be like and that you could imagine yourself as having these incredible adventures.
Are we saying that Ryan Gosling is everyman? Because he couldn't be further.
I mean, he's just he could be anywhere on the street, you know? No. Obviously he's a heartthrob and an A-lister, but there is something I find that is very approachable and accessible about him as a performer, despite his Hollywood caliber good looks. And I think that's what makes it easier to go on a big ride, a big adventure like Project Hail Mary offers us.
How did you experience the film, and what was your takeaway when you left the movie theater?
Yeah, well, I had originally read the book, and so it's that experience when you've read the book prior, and some of that information you already know, and it's filtering into the experience. The book is obviously a slower burn, as books often are, because they're 400 or 500 pages, and you can there's a wealth of information that's condensed into it. So even the experience when he first wakes up on the ship, and he has amnesia and he doesn't remember who am I and how did I get here, and the discovery of his other co-pilots on the mission. All of that in the book obviously takes a longer time, whereas out of the necessity of a 2.5-hour movie, it was compressed. I actually liked that in the movie.
Was in the book it also was going in this mixed jumbled state when it was scene from the spaceship from the future, scene from the past, scene from the, or it was more linear?
To start with, more linear, so we stay in that zone of the not knowing and the discovery, phase of what am I doing here and who am I. Took a little bit longer, and it also took him a little bit longer to get out of the first kind of chamber that they were all in. He attempts, but the fact that he's been floating through space for so long, there's no muscle mass, there's no, so to climb
they kind
a
of
ladder.
glance through it.
Yeah, exactly. You get a little sense of these pieces, but his, him getting his strength back, getting the memory, that all took a little bit longer. The flashbacks for me in the film, I felt that it worked well, overall, bouncing between the two, because otherwise we're on this solitary mission in space, and even somebody as talented as Ryan Gosling, it can be hard to keep somebody's a full audience's attention for that long as
I think that's
a single person on screen.
I think that's why they had the flashbacks and they kind of interspersed them too. But I think it's such a jumble of different concepts, because this is it's like a Wall-E sort of situation. Here's the little buddy.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's like a Memento going back in time.
Right.
And at the same time, it's sort of like Interstellar, and it's a journey to the stars. It was a mixed bag of different things, and everything was enjoyable. Like a great sort of dessert, of different things that you can try. Here's a little bit of this, here's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
You can't really pinpoint the genre specifically. I
Yeah.
feel like,
So
at
it
least for me.
succeeded for you in that regard, though.
Oh
Like,
yes,
it's a buddy film. It's
yes.
an adventure film.
It gave you a
there's
little
the
bit of
sci-
everything. It took
Yeah.
you on a ride, and like that concept of going on a ride with a with a film, we don't have that no more. Like movies don't take you for a journey no more, right? Like this is the sort of newish IP. Like people who didn't, read the book wouldn't even know about it, right? So this is kind of newish IP. When we have this billions of Marvel movies, it's all the same stuff. You know what to expect. There will be like a villain. They're gonna fight, and then they're gonna lose or they're gonna win. Like it's the same trope.
Yeah.
And I think why people really enjoy this because it gives you a taste of something different.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I really felt like it was masterfully done. It was so beautiful to watch
Right.
on the big screen. I would have liked to see it in IMAX as well. I think like something of this grand nature, seeing the ship, seeing space in this way, it really gave those senses of awe, which I think
Yes.
as a human emotion, when you're in awe, it is the connection to each other, connection to potential, the divine or the connection to the universe that puts us in our place
Yes, and I
in
think
a nice way.
and I
as
think
humans.
it keeps, as a film, it keeps space mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
Like quite often we like trivialize space. You go Star Trek and it's like, oh yeah, they're landing everywhere on every planet and stuff, right? So, but here it was still mysterious, Like it was like they were in space, but they were so brittle and like it didn't felt like you have all this control. It's sort of like they chug you in a metal ball somewhere, and like it didn't felt like even in Interstellar they have more sort of agency with space, right? Like they even go down on the planet and they even escape the black hole pool. Like there's a lot of like agency in space, but here it felt more like
Precarious.
yeah, precarious and this grandeur of space and beauty of space and even the space elements of like traveling to Tau Ceti was portrayed so beautifully, so mysteriously, and their interaction, their like Hail Mary attempt of like collecting the samples, and like it looked spectacular in terms of like cinematic space portrayal. It almost took me back in some of the scenes with the visuals that were colorful. It almost reminded me some of the scenes of Stanley Kubrick's Space Odyssey, with all the like chemical reactions when he travels through like space and time. It just brings this space admiration back for me.
Yeah.
Like I really like space exploration films. But what was the standout for you? Because this film has like a lot of little elements.
For me, I think I might be simplifying it, but it was the buddy element between Ryland, our hero astronaut, and Rocky the alien, and seeing them build trust, because I think what's going on in the world so much, there's a lot of darkness, and this sense that like even as humans, even on our own planet, when we are the same species and we cannot figure it the F out,
Yeah.
and it's that bridge of hope that's being built to show us there is a better way, and we need to move beyond ourselves, move beyond our own navel gazing, and take risks and reach out and communicate with each other, to be brave. And when we do that, beautiful things can happen.
Yes.
And we can rise above and become better. So for me, I think that's one of the main messages that I take away from a movie like this, that I think, that's when Hollywood to me is at its best. It's showing us a beacon of hope, a beacon of light, an opportunity for catharsis,
Yes.
to become better and wow us and have us in awe. So in so many ways, I felt like the movie succeeded.
And I really like that, the reveal of basically him being the cover. He didn't want to go on the mission,
Right.
And they take the most hopeless possible person and they become this hero character, and they become and the most important thing, they become selfless, right? Because they sacrifice their life, because they don't know at the end of the movie, they don't know if Ryan Gosling character gonna survive, if he's gonna go and help this Rocky character. He doesn't know if he's gonna even be alive, but he sacrifices everything, his life, to go and help his friend, which was
Yeah.
I thought it was like a powerful message. And at this point, I think the memories came back, so he knew he was a coward,
Right.
So he knew, so he reunited with his like pre-amnesia self,
Yeah.
and he still chose to be this better person. I don't know. I thought that was a beautiful moment.
Because I think it's rare right now. I think so many of us are confronted with our own selfishness constantly, or
Yeah.
we see selfishness in just like in social media and politicians, and like it's everywhere. This kind of like out for people's own good, or their own family, or their own tiny world. And
Yes.
and I think our only hope, humanity's hope, the world's hope, really is about finding tiny acts of selflessness. And it doesn't, we don't need to get on a spaceship, and we don't need to fly across multiple galaxies to do it.
Right.
It can be as simple as helping a neighbor, helping a friend, looking beyond ourselves and saying, how can I make that other person's life a little bit better? And the glorious and wonderful and magical thing is, like, when we do that, we feel way better.
Oh, yes.
Like that's it's like the surprising. It's like, oh, how does that work?
Yes.
But whenever you go beyond yourself, the magic happens.
We don't see a lot of stories like that. Ultimately, Project Hail Mary pays homage to the establishment of like space traveling science fiction.
Yeah.
In the 80s, there was like a revival for science fiction, especially specifically space travel, right? It basically followed the hope for the humanity as a sort of space traveling, species, and like what we can discover, and the potential of like life on other planets, and discovering the cosmos. And there was big, there was Carl Sagan, obviously, documentaries, and all of this build up to wonder of the space. And then the space was trivialized. Like in like late 2000s, space was just trivialized. Like anyone can travel to space. Here's all this stuff happening in the space, right? It was just like the wonder was like taken away from the space. And I think Project Hail Mary handles the space with the awe it deserves. The Project Hail Mary book is from 2021, which is actually makes really interesting for me that the author of the book is like also pays homage to those OG, science fiction books and science fiction stories in terms of the, space as an experience, space as a final frontier.
And I wonder too, there oftentimes feels like a confluence of what's happening in the art world or film, and then what's happening in the real world. So like the release of the movie also timed with, our NASA space flight to go to the dark side of the moon.
All right, yes.
Right? And
Yes.
and SpaceX launching,
Yes,
the
I
stock
think
market
there's
this
a
year.
general resurgence of excitement about the space travel and like space exploration and the cosmos. So I feel like it's a perfect time, which is, you have to understand how hard that is to time. Like you work on a project, like when we work on a movie, it takes years. It takes, 3 years from the concept to even like make something, right?
Yeah.
The foresight it takes to like
Absolutely.
release the movie at the time, which might be just luck also, but I tend to believe that producers knew what they were doing, and were timing the release to obviously to us returning as humans to observe the moon again up close. And as a buffet of things, this film for me absolutely succeeded. It gave you taste of everything. You can talk about a lot of people who don't like space can talk about all these humanity elements. A lot of people who don't care about grand humanity stuff can talk about all these humorous interactions with the Rocky character.
I can talk about Ryan Gosling for a good
The
afternoon.
Yes, the Ryan Gosling. I think they let us experience this book in the compressed state, but still experiencing the whole journey, not a piece of it. Actually, I just want to say, my appreciation to the people who adapted it to a screenplay, because I think it's a massive amount of work to actually to keep it a roller coaster, to keep it a journey, to have everything, to also understand the concept, because there's so many concepts in that film, from humanity dying to the space travel to time dilation to all this astrobiology and then completely different species that's not carbon based life with the complexity of it. It's just a lot of things to juggle.
Yes.
And a lot of things to squeeze in a short time frame.
And did it work for you? Did you feel like we got enough of the science or
I think we got-
pseudoscience
Yeah, I think we got
to
enough.
feel believable?
I think the world building was there, because the main thing is anytime you bring me into a story that's, especially if it's science fiction, you have to set the ground rules, right? I need to know, is this in the future? Is this in the past? Is this right now? What are the rules? What are maybe the physics of this universe is completely different. Maybe something is allowed that is not allowed in our universe. You have to put the ground rules. And this film did it so elegantly without exposition dumping on you. Like, it didn't felt like in the beginning there was like a scroll with the text, like a wall of text that were like, oh, by the way, okay, this is what's happening with the planets. The planets are dying and stuff. It was waved in, and the fact that he was a teacher and teaching kids, it was like a natural moment for dumping on us the exposition of the world, but also setting the rules of this sort of decaying, dying Earth because of this space biological element that is like eating the sun energy output. And I thought it was like, I believed the world, I believed that I believed in the settings, and it was enough for me, enough science, enough pseudoscience, enough world building, enough characters, enough to feel through them a connection to the whole humanity, which is kind of hard. It's not most amazing film ever or something, or like it has to be in the Library of Congress because of its impact on filmmaking. It's a stellar film. It's a solid experience. That's what we want to pay when we buy tickets. We want them to take us on a journey, right? And actually having a new IP for it and having this fresh story for it is like, it's a big deal.
Absolutely.
Like we don't see, we see this, repetition. We in the era of like reboots, restarts, remakes, right? It just brings hope for me about the movies, to go to the movies to see something I haven't saw.
Do you think our obsession with space and our looking beyond planet Earth, is that from a sense of just human curiosity? Or is it something darker? Is there something within us as humanity that is giving up on either ourselves or giving up on Earth? I mean, with all the environmental changes and
Yes.
there's a lot of
It's interesting that you touched.
precarious stuff going on.
It's interesting that you touch on environmental changes, because I think it also was very timely with this concept of Project Hail Mary, that the Earth was basically, the climate was changed. That was the death of the humanity in there. That those astrophages, they were eating the sun, and they were actually eating every other star in our Milky Way and spreading everywhere. And basically, so it's not just the Earth would become, in that universe, will become inhabitable. Every place in the Milky Way will become inhabitable by humans, by like warm-blooded, creatures. So I feel that it was almost like an illusion, and because the book is so fresh, I think it's also a little bit of allegory on the global warming, and in that case, it was like literally global colding.
Yeah.
Everything was becoming colder because the sun was like obscured by this astrophage or eaten. And I think it was quite, you can tell it's quite purposely built like that to reflect what's happening in society right now and us juggling. And the fact that those astrophages, it wasn't that they just attacked the sun here and solar system here. They attack every other star in the Milky Way, which means nowhere is safe.
Yeah.
That was the message. We can't just leave Earth and go somewhere else. The same situation happening everywhere. To match the stakes to what we have right now, because we're not space traveling, society. We can't leave the planet Earth. We actually locked in. If we fuck this up, we are all dead, right?
Yeah.
So to match the stakes for the science fiction, they had basically author had to like expose the whole Milky Way or the whole universe to this astrophage attack to feel that this is really serious. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Like every other star is gonna get dimmed. Like there won't be life anywhere. Even he even involved the aliens that are dying. It's like everyone is dying,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I felt that what evens up the play field between us being in a situation where we're not space traveling species. We can't leave Earth. This is our only home we have. We don't even know if we can live anywhere else, right? But in the universe of Hail Mary, there was possibilities like to leave, or like in Interstellar, there was like they just left,
Yeah.
right? The Earth is dying, they just left. But I think the concept of like there's nowhere to go, you have to solve it here. Like that's a very powerful concept for like people to latch on, especially with us grappling with the global warming, and even the people who are skeptical and then don't believe it. I feel like that had that message for them when they can latch to it and be like, there's nowhere to go, we have to solve it here, and we can solve it. And that was because of selflessness of people, and like one character who's completely lost cause can turn around. Like that was a takeaway for me. So it's interesting that you looked at this also as a sort of the catastrophe that's slowly happening right now with the global warming. I think it was like a really interesting connection that you noticed.
Thanks, I'm pretty clever.
You're very clever. You're very clever. But you know what? Also, it was interesting for me when I was like experiencing it in the movie theater, how not digital it looked. It was a little soft. It was like that's why maybe the awe of the space was for me there, and it reminded me of like films like Space Odyssey because of that softness, and because how not digital and like overly sharp it looked, and it had a little grain and all of that stuff. And then I learned that they basically use this process called film out that a lot of films are going through, and like Nolan films and all the big filmmakers are trying to do this when they shoot digitally, and then they print a final cut on film again and then scan it again to bring that natural grain and to bring so they still do color correction, they still like even it out, but then the effects of the sort of film out printing it back on the negative film, it allows them to get those characteristics of the film stock. It was the right fit to go through this film out process to make it a little warmer, a little more erratic. How it was for you? I know that space are not the things that would attract you in a movie, but what were the top themes?
Yeah.
Like you mentioned their interaction and a humanity.
I think I'm always left after watching most space movies, especially when somebody finds themselves alone on this journey. And I really felt that with the Ryland character, when that realization dawns that like, it's just me out here.
Yeah.
Like something messes up.
Tin can.
It in a tin can flying through the cosmos, which is not so different than any of our experiences, really. Like we're all, that is the human experience. But when you're in it alone and just relying truly on your own intellect and your own physicality, and to stay sane, in addition to know that you have truly all of humanity, back at home relying on you for this Hail Mary shot. Yeah. It's a lot. I think that wove in as well for me, this sense of the awe of the cosmos and the incredible design of nature, and how we've are here and privileged to be able to experience it, and how that is contrasted in this form as being humans on this adventure, that we are also inextricably alone. We come into this experience alone. We will leave this experience alone. Somebody might be holding our hand on the way in and out, but that grand adventure, we've got to do it on our own, of coming in and leaving this experience. And that always has like this mystical, fun sense to me. It's haunting, it's delicious, it's exciting. It's the big adventure. And so there's an element of that I feel that we get to see, this astronaut Ryland go on a bit of that big adventure, because we know that there's a good chance you're not coming back from this. And to witness what might that be like. So there was a lot that I loved. I loved Rocky's spaceship. I thought it was gorgeous to look at.
Oh, it's fabulous. I think the design, the art direction of the film was fabulous. There was so many practical things, even in the, Ryan Gosling character's spaceship. It was so tactile. There was so many buttons, so many triggers, so many little things.
Yeah.
And I even saw the BTS, and they were building those panels. Like, everything is handcrafted. Everything is made. It's just such a, also, like a feast for the eyes in terms of the eye candy and the visuals. So all, kudos to the art department. Like, they did stellar job of like making it believable, making it real, but also artistic. Like, it's the artistic, like you don't need 6 zillion buttons in the spaceship. He had literally like all around 360, there were buttons all around. Like, obviously you don't need that.
I was terrified for him. I'm like, this guy has amnesia right now. Like, there's way too many buttons. There's
way too many switches, triggers, and stuff. And
he's gonna leave the
like,
oven on somewhere.
Yes.
Like,
yes, and like if you think about like user interface, usability is like, it's total nonsense. This would never happen anyway. This is like, but in terms of like artistic rendition and atmosphere, it's absolutely right way of doing it. It's amazing job. And then phenomenal job, not to say that only the prop department and like physical art people can create something amazing. Like you said, the Rocky ship was amazing. That's all CGI, right? So the CG artist did an amazing job of like recreating it, and also having it different enough from anything else.
We haven't seen it before.
Like, we never seen the spaceships like that, right? Like it's just this is a completely different species with not. That's another thing with like aliens portrayed in the movies. It's usually human actor with like a plaster on his face, maybe third eye or something. Right. Like it's like it's the same sort of biology. Like rarely, like maybe Arrival, like that was a completely different biology. That was like a sort of like a squid-like, squid-like sort of space aliens that were nothing alike humans, but they were kind of like squids. So in my mind, he's still pulling off the existing, Earth biology, right? This was completely different because the Rocky character is not even like carbon based. Like he's this, completely different sort of rock, live rock matter, So it's like it's a completely alien. This is truly alien because there's nothing like that. If anything, he's sort of like a reminiscent of a spider. Yeah. But not in any other way in terms of his biology, or like his structure is like, it's like what the most common he has with like rocks, right? Right. So I feel like that was really interesting because we rarely experience something truly alien. For me, it was quite refreshing to not see another like humanoid. For sure. That's it for this episode of Spoiler Club. Thanks for watching with us and for letting us ruin the ending in the most entertaining way possible.
So now we want to hear from you. What should we watch or read next? Okay, you've got 2 choices, Pillion or Obsession. Sounds like either way, I'm going to be feeling slightly aroused, maybe a little bit uncomfortable, but that's okay. We're going to just sit in the discomfort, like a hot tub. We'll stew in it.
Drop your pick in the comments and we'll watch the top choice for an upcoming episode. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
If you want to be cool, you hang out with us. We're cool.